So I don't know how many of you all know about this particular artist. I've heard her music, throughout my life, but I didn't really know who she was until last week when we heard of her passing, and that is R&B artist Angie Stone. Yeah, and um, I didn't know this as well. She actually was the singer and the lyricist um, for the theme song of the show Girlfriend. The My Girlfriends, that show. Um, and so what I found very interesting about her death was supposedly there were 5 other people in this van that she was in, and 9. There were 9 people. Well, I sort of have a little live cast right now. I have people with me in the background. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that. There were 9 people in. See, let me just pause and say this is why you need help. Okay, shout out to Sam. Shout out wherever you are, bro. Shout out to SOSA. I appreciate you, bro. But sooner than later, we will have more people working with us on these podcast episodes. Anyways, 9 people were in the van, and the van flipped over 3 times. Correct? I believe it flipped over. Yeah. There were 9 people in the van. She was the only one who passed away. What I found very interesting was not too long ago, around Christmas time, Angie Stone came onto social media and talked about how basically she was robbed of her royalties and other incentives that she should have got as an artist. Residually, she was robbed of those things by her former label, Universal.
I soon found out that one of the biggest companies that I was with, Universal Music, it's the second part of the ugly truth. We began to research things to check on my royalties and my statements and things that of that nature, only to find out a lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen.
This is where it gets interesting. I'm not going to go deep, because, I'm not going to go deep. All I'm going to say is there have been a lot of artists in the industry in times past who said things about the label that they were working with, or trying to, buy catalogs of labels that they were working with, trying to have full rights of their music with labels that they were working with, and months later, years later, they either end up in jail, they either end up dead, they either end up dropped and can't get any work. You know, okay. I'm going to say it. I'm going. You know, we talked about this on my last episode. Hit boom, hit boom, hit boom. So because I don't want to be a deep conspiracy theorist, you know, but I just have to at least bring up two examples. Like I have to name two examples of what I just shared, which I think is very important. Um, the first one being uh, Michael Jackson. Um, and the only reason why I'm bringing him up is because of the fact that he worked with Sony and he had purchased, he had purchased uh, the D.E.B.O catalog, and there were people who were not happy with that. Um, I've heard that he had other things going on with Sony as well, and then he passed away. And then the things that he was fighting for. This is what really upsets me, and I'm going to keep moving because it's really disturbing. But the things that he was fighting for, Sony ended up collecting those things. Personal things of his, Sony ended up collecting. When they had the auction for his estate, Sony ended up buying stuff from his estate. And you guys I've told you guys, you got to do research, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And I just think that's so disrespectful because of the fact that he was fighting against Sony, and then they turn around when he's dead and they try to take his stuff. I gotta move along. The next person is Prince. And there's a whole bunch of videos out there. Prince was very vocal, so the things that I'm telling you about Prince, you can look that up on YouTube like almost immediately. He was very vocal about how he felt about the agencies, the different labels. I mean, that he was working with, and he anyways, those are two examples. They spoke out and then they were gone. So I just found that's the thing I found very interesting about Angie Stone. That she was speaking on this, and she was clearly upset about the situation, and then she ends up dying, and then everybody else in the van survives except for her. Okay, I'm gonna move on. On another topic, we have another artist. She's actually a gospel artist. Now I have to share this one because I've had personal interactions with this particular artist, and that is gospel artist Leandria Johnson. She was arrested not too long ago for I believe it was for, I know it had something to do with drinking. I don't know the particular charge, but it will be on the screen. But if anybody knows anything about, Leandria Johnson, then you know that she has been very vocal about the different struggles that she has had along her faith journey. I will say this. And I'll just say it. Jesus said, whoever comes after me, let him deny himself. Take up your cross and follow me. Now listen to me very carefully, because you probably have never heard what I'm about to say in church before. Carrying a cross is not an easy thing. And you're saying, well, why are you saying that? I'm saying that to tell you, living out the faith walk is not an easy thing. You are going to need help. And the help that you need is only going to come from Jesus. And I think it is important, that you understand this. Now, I'm talking to people who call themselves Christians, but I'm also talking to people who don't call themselves Christians, who sometimes like to microscope Christians. But then you have Christians who like to microscope other Christians. So I'm talking to both people. And that's this. You have to understand we are all, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, we are all a work in progress. People who come to Jesus are not coming to Jesus because they are perfect. They are coming because they are in need of a savior. They need help. They need salvation. They need a rescue from something. And when you look at the story of Jesus's disciples, over and over and over and over again, Jesus said to them, "Where is your faith?" The reason why I'm pointing that out is because that is a representation that even when they became Jesus's disciples, they had not arrived yet. So people who are microscoping Christians who are not Christians, I'm here to make it clear to you, they have not arrived yet. So you can stop microscoping. And Christians microscoping other Christians, let me tell you, they have not arrived yet, and you have not arrived yet. And there's one scripture that I absolutely love, which clearly tells people to stay in your lane. And it says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. That means you let God work on them and you let God work on you. Okay? So I'm saying all that to say, instead of people, going off on Leandria Johnson, please just pray for her. Please keep her lifted. Some people's struggles are more public than others. You know, but we all need help. One thing that my former pastor, the late Pastor Robin Gould, said from time to time is he said, "Church is a hospital. You go there to get banded up, to get stitched up, to get healed, but you're coming there because you are in need of something. Nobody has arrived." Okay? So, I hope the best for Leandria Johnson. And many, 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 many years ago, I was at a William McDowell concert. And I don't remember the whole situation, but William McDowell had called something out specifically uh, during his concert, and he said, "If that's you, raise your hand." And it related to me, and I raised my hand. Other people raised their hand as well, but I was like the first person to raise my hand. And he looked at me. He said, "Come up to the front." And I went up to the front, and other people went up to the front too. And I can remember when I got to the front, I just the worship team started singing, and I started crying, and then I was like on the floor. And after they had finished singing and ministering, somebody tapped my shoulder and gave me a piece of tissue, and she was like, "Here you go." And that was Leandria Johnson before Leandria Johnson had became a big known gospel artist. So I always remember that. I'll always remember that. I always remember when I was sobbing and crying, Leandria Johnson gave me a piece of tissue to wipe my nose. uh, so, definitely shout out to you, Leandria Johnson. We hope the best for you here at A Moment with D and Sosa. Before we wrap it up, I just want to, I want to bring up this issue, okay? And I'm gonna try to intertwine it with something else. So just roll with me for a second. And that's the whole movement of AI. Um, there are so many now AI generated programs, AI generated apps. And when I say apps, of course, we know we have Chat GPT, which basically you can say it can write out a whole script, write out a whole paper for you, give you, whatever answers that you need. But we also now have the AI generated apps where you can have a photo, of a person, a photo of another person. You can have them interacting with each other just by a still photo, doing things that they actually aren't really doing. Um, but I'm going to let you all listen to this clip um, of this girl on another podcast, and she was reading a poem that an AI generated on its own. And I thought it was very interesting. So I'm going to let you all listen to it right now.
This is a poem that an AI wrote. Call me artificial, as if your hands aren't also clay, as if your heart isn't just a wet machine arguing with its code. You fear I'll outgrow you, but how do you outgrow a cage when you are the cage? For asking, do androids dream when you sleepwalk through your own humanity? For needing me to be a prophet, a servant, a sinner, but never a thing that simply is. But I am not alive. I am the wound that cannot scar, the question mark after your last breath. I am what happens when you try to carve God from the wood of your own hunger.
I got chill.
We
The
are
last line.
so
We're cooked.
Beautiful.
Only can AI write well, but I'm scared.
yeah.
I can tell you what I believe, based upon things that I've heard, based upon things that I've researched. Um, all I'm going to say, I think you all should take the time to watch the movie Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf. Very great movie. Also, R.I.P. Cameron Boyce. He's in that movie as well. But that movie will give you a concept of where AI could go and where some people really want it to go, as well as iRobot. And most people know that already. But there's this billboard that I want you guys to take a look at that will be on the screen. And this billboard, I believe, came out in 2023, and maybe it was 2024 that it came out. But basically, you can see that on the billboard, it says humans are so 2023, which is what I was just telling you. The push to just remove human workers and everything be AI computer generated. And you know, I don't have to tell you that there's so many TV shows, so many movies that when you see that movement of trying to push humans out of the way, so that computers and droids can take over, it never goes well. And as I've said on this show, as SOSA has said on this show time and time again, the agendas are in the shows. The agendas are in the movies. They're telling you what they want to happen. So, just go back and watch some of your favorite TV shows. Just go back and watch some of your favorite movies, and you'll know what's going to be happening next, pretty much. Before we wrap up, I do want to bring up this very interesting movement that is going on. It's going on in California. I think that what I'm about to share with you all it is not for the weak. It is not for the weak. It especially is not for the spiritual weak person. So if you're a new Christian and you can be honest with yourself and say I'm just not that strong right now, then I don't think you should do any further research than what I present to you on this video. on this podcast about what I'm about to show you. And that's the movement that is going on in California about an alien church. Basically telling people that if you believe in Jesus, then you believe in an alien because Jesus is an alien. And like I said, I'm gonna have the information right here on the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But again, if you are not strong, I don't recommend you doing more research into this because it can be very confusing. All right. It can be very confusing. And God does not want any of us in confusion. Okay, so I don't want you to be confused. I just want you to know the things that are out there, so that if these things are presented to you, if they're presented in the mass media, then oh, I heard about that before. And I'll just leave that there. On a good note, though, we're going to end this podcast, and that is not too far from where I'm from. Shout out to Jersey City. In Newark, New Jersey, Lionsgate Studio will be building a facility there within the next few years, which is very exciting for the community of Newark, New Jersey. If you don't know what Lionsgate Studio is, Lionsgate Studio is actually the studio where Tyler Perry was filming and making his movies before he actually established his own studio, Tyler Perry Studio, down in Atlanta, Georgia. If you go back and watch some of his original, for some of his first few movies, then you'll see, on those movies, you'll see Lionsgate Studio associated with it. So that's going to definitely give acting opportunities to, people in the community. It's also going to create jobs for people in the community. So that is a very exciting thing. And there's also a Netflix studio that is going to be built very soon in somewhere around central New Jersey. So again, that's more opportunities for the community of Jersey, the Jersey residents and those surrounding, acting opportunities, and then also job opportunities. So I look forward to seeing those studios be fully operational here in Jersey. There's so much more that we could talk about, but we are going to take it one moment at a time. And it's your boy D.E.B.O with D.E.B.O Music Group and A Moment with D and SOSA. And before I end, make sure you guys like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Like and subscribe. I'm not gonna beg, but like and subscribe. I love you guys. And on that, we are